Y'all, I just interviewed Paul Wall! And it's really a full circle moment for me because though I love interviewing all the new, young, hot artists that come up, I really love when it's a legend in the building. So this is a full circle for me because when I was a kid, Paul Wall is the same guy who made me buy gum so I could use aluminum foil grills. So it's only right that I brought out my real one for our interview today. I would say the biggest takeaway that I took away from this interview was it's just positive aura and energy and his love for hip hop. Like it's so dope to see. But funny story, we talked about the creation of Still Tippin' and how he actually originally hated the record and how he hated the beat.
All the beat is some violins, do 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 do, and I'm like, what the hell am I gonna talk about on this?
But he's so glad he's wrong, and we are too. And then another fun fact was that he approved of my grill. Okay, now I don't know if you know him and Johnny Dang, they're business partners. They kind of are like the bar for grills, and mine's got approved, so we're gonna have to do a little. You're welcome. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, what it do is Paul Wall, the People's Champ. I got a new album. It's out right now. It's called Once Upon a Grind. But say, Nyla, what's up? We need to talk.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. Today I have a very special guest. We actually got a legend in the building. Paul Wall is here.
What it do?
How are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here with you.
I'm so happy that you're here, man.
You shine. See them grills shining.
I did this on purpose.
Hello.
I ain't never wear grills on a podcast.
Yeah.
I was
shining.
like, it's only right. Do people do this to you often? Do people come up for like approval?
Sometimes, yeah. But you know, it means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely got my approval.
Thank you.
Got my approval.
Yeah, thank you. How does it feel? I guess being the bar for jury in fashion.
I mean, it feels great. I mean, also being. I think about when I was broke. And I had no jewelry. I couldn't afford anything. So any amount of jewelry was something that I was proud of. So even when I got my first set of just solid gold grills, I was showing them things off like they cost me $1 million.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so I feel that when I see other people shining, especially if I can help facilitate it, you know, I feel like a part of that. So it's like I made you your grills and you wearing them and you shining. It's like, yeah, we shining. You know, that's just how I feel. You know, also having a partner like my boy Johnny Dang, you know, he full-time jury. You
Yep.
know, I'm kind of more part-time jury, full-time music.
Got it, yeah.
You know, Johnny dabbles in music too a little bit. He's like
Really?
part-time music. Yeah, sometimes he'll look like executive produce this or that, or he'll fund this, or he'll have
Okay.
an idea for that. Every now and then I get him to drop some bars.
I was gonna
man.
say,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
he rap though?
Yeah, we had a song called Stay Iced Up a while back. I wrote him a verse, and he actually killed it because I wrote it for him, but he like killed his. I thought it was gonna be tough getting him to record it, but he nailed it.
Wow.
We shot a video for it a while back, but you know, I mean, stuff like that is like a commercial for us. So it's like
Fun.
It's fun, but it's an investment in our business as well.
Yeah. I love that. I had no idea you guys were partners actually, but that makes a lot of sense now looking back. And even like I don't know, I feel like Texas rap right now is probably my favorite. I love Money Leo, I love Big X, I love that Mexican OT.
You got good taste.
Yeah.
They get all three. They are. You got good taste.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, those are my favorite rappers right now too.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you're being
and
biased.
Glorilla. Them and Glorilla. So yeah, for sure. But she's from Memphis, but we got still the Memphis, Texas
that twang.
connection.
Y'all have a twang. Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. And then the record Johnny Dang.
Oh yeah.
I was really happy to see you on it, just to see the collaboration between OG and like the new young people. But talk to me about just your relationship with him.
Me and that Mexican OT, I've been a fan of him, watching his rise. You know, me being somebody who's established, I was just watching his come up, and he just was shining. Came with a different type of swag, different type of style. Of course, a lot of people know him for rolling his R's. When there's not an R,
yep.
You know, he'll roll it. But he's just what he rap about. Him rapping fast, him having high energy. You know, content-wise, he's rapping about a lot of similar things that I rap about. But just his style, the way he delivers it, is so different and unique. I was a huge fan of him watching him come up. It kind of got to the point where I felt like I missed my window of opportunity to do a song with him. Because even though I'm established, OG, all this, that type of stuff, but, when you are an artist on the come up, it's like you feel like you want help from people, and if people are already there, you want them to help you, and you don't know how they can help you or how, but you just want them to help. So if someone doesn't help you, sometimes you just feel a certain way, and it's true. Nothing personal, but it's just how you feel. Yeah. So I really felt like, because he blew up, it seemed like it blew up quick, but it took a while. So I just felt like, I missed my window opportunity. If I ask him now, he either gonna be like, hell nah, you ain't helped me, so why I'm gonna do a song with you? Or he might be like, yeah, I'll do it. It's gonna be $50,000, which he's worth every penny of. Yeah. But still, I'm just like, okay, I don't know. But when
it's crazy that you even look at it like that. Yeah, I'm on it. Like, I'm shocked that you're saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I've had experiences, working with so many artists that are like hot and popping on the rise, and a lot of times they fizzle out, you know what I'm saying, or they don't, for whatever reason. It could be personal thing. They could go to jail, they could have kids and say, this ain't for me, I gotta do something different with my life. They could say, okay, I'm not meant to be an artist, I'm meant to be a label exec or something, like a more or something, but so many times I work with people that were hot and popping, and they feel like you just riding their way. They feel like I'm riding their way.
Yeah, see, that's whack. I hate people who don't really understand their place in the universe. But I feel like anybody who's just a fan of hip hop, rap, like, it's an honor. Yeah. Like, I'm so honored that you're here right now. Thank you. But all right, these are just fan questions. Let me get into my real questions. Okay. So you were a key player on putting Southern rap, Texas rap on the map. How do you feel like Houston had officially arrived on the global stage?
Feels crazy to see, people worldwide accepting or even familiar with the Houston or the Texas culture, just because for so long we would say things in our raps and nobody knew what the hell we were talking about, just because we're talking in slang or with an accent or just about, content-wise about things like street names or people's names that people outside our bubble have no idea what we talking about. Yeah. So just to see people accept it worldwide, listen to it, be fans of it, or even just for them to understand what we talking about, it's big for me from a fan perspective, because I'm a fan of the Texas rap as well. Yeah. And then to see it grow. You know what I'm saying? From how it was from, Rap A Lot and the Screwed Up Clique, or, us with Swisher House, which we, of course, we came from, following the Screwed Up Clique. And then, everybody else who's came since. Sauce Walker coming with, evolving the Houston style. Or you got Megan Thee Stallion taking it to all new heights. Travis Scott, Don Toliver, just taking it, but just making something. And they changed it.
They went a whole nother way. It's like y'all got left and right now. Y'all got two different.
I feel like almost like, me, Slim Thug, and Mike Jones come in, and we kind of made, we kind of, popularized, the Houston style, like maybe more nationally. Yep. But when I look at like Megan Thee Stallion or Don Toliver, Travis Scott, Toby Nwigwe, Sauce Walker, I look at them like they evolved it internationally, Some of that is just how the world is now with technology and social media. Yeah. If social media was out when we came out, maybe it would have been a similar effect. But just watching the dominoes fall and watching the Texas style grow, and the Texas style has always been bigger than just Houston. You know what I'm saying? Because even though a lot of the music comes from Houston, Texas in general is our support system. Yeah. So they make it possible for us to even be here, because Houston don't support Houston like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you know.
I'm surprised.
Houston, there definitely are people in Houston who get support. Yeah. But just as in general, most cities don't support their own city.
I can see that, because they all be in Sauce Walker's comments backing him up. Like
yeah. But it's just like that just Texas in general, they just ride for us. So it's just something where you feel emboldened to just. We got to represent for them.
What do you think it is about Texas? Because New York City is a melting pot, right? But it doesn't have the same, like, we don't have a Mexican OT. We don't have a Paul Wall. We don't have, what is it?
Well, the difference is y'all got a Jay-Z, a 50 Cent, a Ja Rule. I'm not saying, know what I'm saying?
I don't mean.
But yeah. But I mean
like culturally. Like, we got a Mexican rapper that raps just as good as like.
I don't know. Some of it might be our influences are similar. You know what I'm saying? Like me, Mexican OT, and Slim Thug, we're pretty much all inspired by the same people. So music-wise, we got a lot of the same influences. Culturally, we grow up in the same environment, so we sound similar, you know. And
do you think it's soul? Is it like a heavy church city? Like what? I'm trying to really figure out.
Well, it's definitely evolved. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I can't say how it is for today's youth with the church, but when I was growing up, for sure, it was a church city. So it's also a heavy blues city. So you're going to get some of that in the music. It's very bluesy. We're very bass guitar-y. You're going to hear a lot of bass guitar. You're also going to hear stuff that's got heavy bass drums because we're going to be driving in our cars. We're not going, you might ride on a bus, but it's not a train. And even when you're on the bus, you like got your head on the swivel, so you're not like listening with headphones on. You like worried about somebody robbing you. So,
Still to this day.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't ride the bus no more. But I mean, just how it would be. Like most people in Houston or just in Texas would have cars. You know what I'm saying? Because to get from one side of the city to the other, it's gonna take you maybe an hour and a half, and you're still in Houston, and that's even without traffic,
Lord what I'm saying? Have mercy.
So, having a car, you could have, even if you got everybody had a car, even if you live in the hood, you got a car. So even if you got a raggedy car, you might put some speakers in the trunk, you know what I'm saying? So that at least during your commute, you can feel the music as well as hear it. Because when you feel the bass and you just feel it all around, like it just is a different experience than when you listen to it with earpods, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's definitely some of it. Also, the freestyle type of style that was popularized by the Screwed Up Clique, the Switch House we carried on, that became part of like the style of how we rap. And then you got other people like Mike Dean or Scarface, who are they play musical instruments. Mike Dean, one of the top producers, Happy Perez, same with Happy Perez, where these are like real producers that don't just tap something. They can tap something, but they also play. They can sample something, but they also can play it. They can hear it and play it right there from just listening. And that type of them incorporating a lot of the guitars and the musical instruments in a lot of the old rap-a-lot music. It really just is stuck with us because that laid the foundation for what the Houston style or the Texas style. Same with UGK, with Pimp C being a producer and a rapper. When he would produce, you would hear a lot of organs in his beats. You would hear a lot of bass, a lot of bass guitar. All of that, was very bluesy, and it just, coined basically the Texas, the Houston style. You know what I'm saying? And it stuck with us. It's the same today. Now we might do it a little different now, just because nowadays most production is like fast paced. To me, a lot of the production today sound like war drums. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God, yes.
And a lot of the music, too, is all, everybody killing everybody. It's like, damn, boy, it sounds like it with all these war drums. Like, we ready to go to war with each other.
I don't like it.
Yeah. So you see, that's the flip side of it is that, okay, well, with that, we still try to incorporate a lot of the, so even on my new album, even though, it's half produced by somebody from the Bay Area, he's very musical. DJ Fresh, he plays synth.
Did you work with him on the last project,
on the last
too?
One, yep, on the last one, too.
I figured, because I was like, this sounds too, like...
Yeah.
It got that bounce, that West Coast bounce.
Yeah, it got that West Coast bounce. And it's not Houston type of style, but it kind of... We found like
it's a good
yeah,
mix.
It's like we found like a mix with it. That's we found.
I didn't know he produced this project. That's what's up. Okay, I loved Commas.
Yeah, thank you.
It's so chill, but it's talking that shit like, yo, I'm doing this until I get a beat. Yeah. Oh man, I love it.
Thank you.
So collaborations and artists seem like more fluid now across regions, but I know it was different like in the early 2000s. So I kind of just wanted to talk about that. How do you feel like I don't know, how do you just feel like it's changed for the better or for the worse? Because I do feel like low-key we need regional sounds to come back.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the local regional sounds have definitely kind of been lost to everyone sounding the same sometimes. Or with, somebody sounding local, but it becomes a national trend. So now everyone sounds like that.
Yep.
You would see a little bit of that. Like when we came out, we came with the Screwed and Chop style, Screwed and Chop hooks. So you would see some influence on that with other people, Katy Perry or whoever got, Screwed and Chop hook, just musically across genres. But it wasn't like, like it is like now, where when something take off, that style is like oversaturated.
Yeah.
But it can be a good thing because it can help spotlight, certain regions and sounds and really get them a spotlight that if it was 10, 20 years ago, they would have never got.
I know.
But at the same time, we lose a lot of the regional, and I've always been somebody who, my favorite rappers are the ones that sound the most local. Like, the
most raw,
like Snoop sounds like L.A., you know what I'm saying? Like, Juvenile was one of my favorite. Juvenile and BG were my favorite rappers growing up, other than Lil Keke. So, Juvenile and BG both sound New Orleans as hell. They don't sound like nothing else but New Orleans, Louisiana. So, just that regional sound. Or you look at like a Biggie or a Jay-Z, even though they're global, they still represent Brooklyn. You hear Brooklyn in them, or if you want to take it even further, Cameron is Harlem as it get, and you can hear that in his music. You see that in his swag, how he talks, how he carries himself. So as a fan of it, my favorite rappers being, even though a lot of them are global, but they still have a local kind of sound and they represent local. It's a little tough sometimes when you see it like missing, but I mean at the same time, my favorite rappers are still my favorite rappers, like who I'm listening to today. Rich the Factor from Kansas City, he sounds like Kansas City. Glorilla, she sounds like Memphis, or just whoever else I'm listening to, they sound very regional. That's just my personal preference. So I encourage people to still represent and sound like, I also know what it's like to come from somewhere where there's a monolithic sound, and if you sound like anything else, then you're whack. So I know what that's like. So to see it grow in Houston alone, I mean, when the Sauce Twins, when Sauce Walk came out, I remember telling them, one of the first things I told them was like, say, man, don't never let nobody in Houston tell you, because people from my generation would kind of like shit on them. Like, man, you don't sound like Houston. You sound like somebody else, or whatever. But I looked at it like as this is a new branch of the hip-hop tree in Houston that's starting to grow. So now, Sauce Walker is a firm branch on that tree, that style, and so just to see that, and it's just to see how far it's come. And I quick to tell them, say, man, y'all got y'all bringing something new to Houston. You're evolving the Houston style. We don't all have to sound like each other, but we can still support each other and represent for each other. And some of that's the the positivity in it of, I don't sound like Sauce Walker, but we sound good together. So some of it is the yin and the yang of when you come together and unite for a common cause. You bring some good sounds out of people. So I like to see how the sounds of, or even just to see like you got like me, Mike Jones, Slim Thug. You got Sauce Walker. You got Scarface, UGK, Ghetto Boys. You got Megan Thee Stallion, Toby Nwigwe, Travis Scott. You got Maxo Cream, you got Don Toliver. All of these people sound different.
Very different.
We might have similar accents, or we might say similar, or there might be some similar things, especially visually. We might put some of the similar things, although we all got different dress styles as well,
Very,
So, some of us sound like me, Slim Thug, and Mike Jones. We might sound more similar than like, me and Don Toliver sound, what I'm saying? But, we all sound different, and we all come from the same place. So I love to see it.
Me too. I do. How do you feel about Texas being the new Atlanta?
I love that too.
Everybody's moving there, mad implants.
Now, people in Texas don't like it. They always say, hey, man, y'all go back to where y'all came from. Stop coming to Texas. But I love it because, I'm a fan of it too. So, I come from the era where the world thought everybody in Houston had cows in their backyard and we drove horses instead of cars. I come from that era, so it's like, saying for people to want to experience our Houston culture and, and the vibe and to be there, I love it. I'm very welcoming for that. I find myself like a steward for the Houston culture. Like, people are always like, oh, where can we eat? What's the best food places? Where's the best this and that? Where's the best nightlife or whatever, and it's a lot of it, That's the funny thing too with the food, because depending on where you from, that's where you think the best food from a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? So of course everybody in Houston think Houston got the best food. People in Atlanta think Atlanta got. People in New Orleans think New Orleans got the best. It's just like that everywhere. But when people come from out of town and they appreciate the food, and it's like, okay, I know I wasn't tripping. I knew we had some good food here. But I love it because Houston has kind of grown too to become not just what it was. It's certainly evolved.
Yeah, it's becoming a staple, a really strong one. So Once Upon a Grind, where we at? Who are we collaborating with? I know you said you're working with the West Coast producer again, but who's the other one?
Yeah, DJ Fresh, he produced basically half of it. The other half is by my boys G Luck and Beat On, G&B Productions. They did a lot of stuff for me in the past. They did a lot of stuff for Slim Thug, J-Dog, a lot of Houston icons they steady produced. They actually, a big reason why I work with them is because although they've been iconic for a lot of older, established artists like myself, like the first time I worked with G Luck and Beat On was like around 2011, 2012. That's the first time maybe when we was in the studio nonstop every single day. I worked with them before that, but that's like when we were like really getting it in. So nowadays, their sound has evolved to match how the Houston sound has evolved. So, for instance, they got a lot of tracks on Sauce Walker projects, or all these other artists we talking about. They got a lot of tracks on that Mexican OT's projects, or anybody else that's coming out of Houston. They're working with them. So it's like I wanted somebody who kind of could capture the the old sound, but be fresh with it, and so they basically did the other half. And then my boys Beans and Cornbread, they produced the song with me and Zero, Swang Down. They produced that one on there.
Okay.
And then the features, we got Zero, of course, my boy
Fire.
Zero.
Yes.
Then I got a song with Slim Thug, Lil Kiki, Cartel Bo. Cartel Bo is another somebody from like the now generation where he's killing it right now. He just signed a deal. He got a hell of a wave going. His style is so different than me, but together it sounds like a perfect match.
I can't wait to hear it.
So it definitely sound good together.
Man, and my last interview with Mexican OT, I had said I didn't know who Zero was. I've never been flooded with so much hate in my life. Now I'm quite aware. I did the research.
Zero fans. Hey, Zero fans are the type of fans where if you say you don't like Zero, they'll fight you.
But it's not that I don't like him. I just didn't know. Yeah. I've never been to Texas. Yeah.
That's how they are. Zero is like one of our iconic. He has a style. I would say maybe sound wise, it kind of sounds similar maybe to like a Nate Dogg, where he's got a deep voice and he sings, but Zero raps a lot too. And the things he talks about, Zero talks he talks a lot about struggle, so anybody who's been through some things definitely relates. So if you think about this is what I'm talking about, the fan base. You think about people who have went through some hard trauma, pain. I'm talking about, I don't mean like girlfriend cheating on them or something like that. I mean like life. Yeah. And those people are the ones who love Zero because they really can relate to what he's talking about. Actually for me, for a long time, it took a while for me to really listen to Zero and appreciate him, because when I used to listen to Zero at first, it used to trigger me. It would trigger my traumas, and I'd be like, man, I can't listen to it. I'm still trying to sweep that under the rug, But until I can confront my own traumas, then I can really listen to Zero and really appreciate it, But he's somebody who we cherish. He's one of our icons in Texas where we cherish Zero. We love Zero in Texas.
I love that. And I love that once you did the work, you could. It's like smoother, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Dang, that's dope. Okay, let's talk about. I want to talk about your verse on Still Tippin'. Take us back to the day the record came together.
Still Tippin' is an interesting story because if you ask anybody that's involved, they'll tell you a different story. Some of them have different perspectives. Some of them are trying to hang on to, notoriety. Maybe it's, some of them are trying to, whatever. It's very interesting. But I mean, from my perspective and the way I remember it happening, it was, I just signed with the Swisher House was a mixtape label. It wasn't a mixtape. It was a mixtape label. But, it wasn't a record label. It was just mixtapes.
Yeah.
And then it evolved into becoming an actual record label. But by the time it evolved to a record label, I already had a record deal with somebody else. When Swisher House started, it was specifically for promotions.
Tape, like that.
Tape. Yeah, right. Yeah. So we would get on the Swisher House mixtape to promote our upcoming album on another label.
Right.
But eventually it evolved into becoming its own label. But really, Michael Watts, OG Ron C, they were, they created Swisher House to be a stepping stone and a platform for up-and-coming artists to establish themselves and then go get a record deal with somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, G-Dash, he came and he had a management company, and him and Michael Watts, they basically formed a label out of it. And a few of the other artists who were there on the mixtapes, they were some of the first artists. And then, me and Chameleon there, we were a group. We ended up breaking up, going our separate ways. And that was at a time when everybody in the city, all 5 million people in the city of Houston would let me know, hey, you ain't shit without Chameleon there.
Oh, wow.
They would tell every record label, hey, we don't want to sign you. We'll sign y'all, but we don't want to sign you. And, you know, at that time, my boy T. Ferris, he was the A&R, and I think his title was the president of the Swisher House. You know, I shouted him out on the song, on plenty of songs. He became my manager later on. He's Megan Thee Stallion's manager now. But he was somebody who came to me and he would tell me, he was like, say, man, because we were boys. He was like the first person who was like my coach, where he would kind of encourage me, give me direction, and just, you know, give me critiques, but in a way where I understood it and I could take what he's giving me and run with it. Yeah. So he came to me and he was like, hey, man, look, I talked to Michael Watts, I talked to G-Dash. Look, I'm not trying to sell you on this, but I just want you to know, if you ever want a record deal with the Swisher House, the door is always open to you. I feel like your best days are in front of you. They not behind you, they ahead of you. I feel like you got a lot of talent, your work ethic, all of that. And I'm not trying to push this on you, but I just feel like I got to let you know, if you want to sign with us, you're more than welcome. Well, little did he know that was the only person in the world that wanted to sign me.
Wow.
So I, of course, I jumped all on it. And he gave me a CD with 8 beats on it. He said, we're working on a compilation album, The Day Hell Broke Loose, Part 2. And he said, here's the 8 beats on it. Anything you feeling, write to it, rap to it. You want to do a verse, do a verse. You want to do the whole song, do the song. You do 2 verses, you want to do a hook. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're feeling, do it. If you don't like it, don't do nothing. But I'm hungry. I'm motivated. So I'm like, I'm rapping on every single one of these songs. But there was one, and now I'm also keep you back. This is when it's on a CD, on a CD player about this size, a little portable CD player, that if you play the volume too loud and the bass is knocking, it's going to skip. It's going to skip. So I got to play it at a low volume, and I'm listening to it, and I'm rapping to every beat. I wrote a rap to every single beat, and there's one beat I couldn't write to, and it was like, man, what am I going to say to this beat? All the beat is some violins, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about on this? And T. Ferris said, man, you ain't got to write to it. I said, no. I'm going to write to it, but I just need some direction. And he said, well, just freestyle, do whatever to it. So I went in there, did like a little freestyle to it, whatever, just wrote, talked about a little bit of everything. Also, Magnificent. He's somebody else who was, signed to the Swisher House. I came up in the Swisher House. He did a verse to it too. And then later on, there was what I call the rough draft of Still Tippin' that they were trying to put together, because they were working on this compilation. Okay. Originally, the compilation was supposed to be produced by one singular producer. Randy Big Time. Shout out to Randy. Shout out to Big Time. So anyway, him and Michael Watts, I guess they got into it or didn't see. I don't know. I wasn't part of none of that. All I know is all of a sudden now Big Time is not producing The Day Hell Broke Loose 2. So what they did was Big Time took all his beats and Watts took all the vocals.
Wow.
Okay. And and there was what I call a rough draft to Still Tippin'. Okay. Which was one of those things. And Big Time took the beat and Watts took the vocals. And Slim Thug told me recently, because I never knew this, but Slim Thug recently told me this year, matter of fact, and he told me that it was his idea to sample his freestyle, which was the hook, Still Tippin' on 4-4. That was a classic freestyle from Slim Thug. Slim Thug also, just for people that don't know, ever since we were in high school, Slim Thug has always been the man, always. So rapping, freestyling with Swisher House, he was always a star, always the boss. So some of these freestyles, they're like iconic to us. This is something we would listen to day in and day out. Yeah. So Slim Thug said he had the idea to sample something and make a hook out of it. And he told Randy and Watts, hey, I need y'all to sample this and make this the hook. And then Slim Thug's verse on there is very similar to his freestyle that he originally laid. So if you listen to his freestyle, he incorporated some of the lines, but he like updated them. So in his freestyle, he might have said he was, at this club. Well, in Still Tippin', he's saying he's at that club. In his freestyle, he's saying he's wearing these clothes. And in Still Tippin', he's saying we're wearing these clothes. But it's basically the same bars. He's just updating it, and making it a little fresher. So, of course, even when we debate who has the hardest verse on Still Tippin', it's like, undebatable, it's because you can't go wrong with any
song
one of
wouldn't
us.
happen,
Because
yeah.
for three different different reasons. Slim was kind of the nostalgia version of it,
Yep.
and of course he wrecked,
Yep.
and it was the inspiration for the song. Then Mike Jones, him coming with it, having his bars, me having my bars, all of that. So it just really all kind of came together. Anyway,
The perfect storm.
with the song, okay. The next thing you know, all I did was just lay my verse to this do 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 to that. Okay. Well, anyway, all the 8 beats, they were all from the same producer, Solly Williams, Carnival Beats. He's the one who made Still Tippin', Sitting Sideways. Back then, They Didn't Want Me, Now I'm Hot, They All On Me. A lot of the 2000 hits for us. You know what I'm saying? And even before that, he was iconic to us in Houston. There's a super iconic record label called Rec Shop Records, and Carnival Beats was like their in-house production.
Okay.
So Big Mo, ESG, some of Big Pokey, Carnival Beats produced a lot of their music that were radio hits, which are classic hits for people from my area in Houston. You know what I'm saying? So it was, to work with him, it was almost like, damn, we working with a big dog. We get to work with Salih.
Yeah.
Man, he produced that, he produced that, he produced that. Damn, we get to work with him. So it was very inspiring, and it was one of those times where you feel like you're making moves. You're really doing something. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I rapped, me and Magno, we rapped to the violin. And then they're trying to find a way to fly in these vocals. There was another beat that Salih made. It wasn't part of the 8 because that song was already done. But it was another beat that had the Nutcracker, the Home Alone Nutcracker, dum 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 dum. It was a beat that had that sample on it. Okay, the album was coming out around Christmas time, so everybody was like, okay, we're gonna fly in the rough draft vocals. What I call the rough draft still. We're gonna fly in the rough draft vocals on that beat. Because it's Christmas time, right. Home Alone, Nutcracker, all that type of stuff. It's gonna be a hit. It's almost kind of gimmicky because it was Christmas, but yeah. I mean, at the same time, you never know. We could have had our Mariah Carey moment, for Christmas if it was on the Nutcracker beat, but we didn't know. Yeah. So it's all good. We got one of hip hop top 50 songs. It's all good. But anyway, so anyway, there was a slight debate over which beat they should use. Should it be the Nutcracker beat? Now, T. Ferris was like, man, they need to be this violin. And they was like, well, the violin beat is a little slower, so we're going to have to slow down the vocals. But T. Ferris like, what you mean? We the Swisher House. That's what we do anyway. We slow it down anyway. That's what we screwed up city. That's what you mean. Yeah. And anyway, they did it. They flew in Mike Jones and Slim Thug vocals on there. And then it was like, okay, well, who are they gonna pick? Is it me or Magno? Like, which verse? And they voted, and it just ended up being me. But Magno, he had a hard verse too, and I'm sure if they wouldn't have flew in the rough draft vocals, he probably would have been on it too because he had a hard verse.
Yo, is there anywhere we could find these songs? I definitely want to hear the Nutcracker version.
The Nutcracker version it's a song, I don't know the name of it, but it's a song that's on the Day Hell Broke Loose. I know Mike Jones is on, I don't know who else, but if you just listen to the Day Hell Broke Loose Part 2, it's on there. Also, Randy, big time, he ended up putting out what I call the rough draft vocals. I guess they basically shared that or something. Okay. I don't know, but he basically put that out on his version as well with the beat he made. So in his the name of his album, I forgot because he ended up putting out with Rap-A-Lot. It was called man, I can't remember what it was called.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it might have had something to do with Hell Broke. Maybe it's like the day after Hell Broke or something. I don't know. I can't. But if you just Google Big Time, and it's Big Time, the time is spelled with a Y, I believe. Big Time with a Y. But if you look it up, it's there. You'll find it, or you'll look up, just other Still Tippin' version. Matter of fact, Chameleon there was on what I call the rough draft version. He was on that version. But. Then even I didn't know I was gonna be on a song, so I didn't know they voted and I'm on the song. All this, I just remember T. Ferris pulling up to me one day. He had his Jag, and I remember he pulled up. He had a Kool-Aid smile. This is the biggest smile I ever seen T. Ferris. He wasn't smiling like this when we got our deal. He wasn't smiling like this when we went platinum, when we nominated for Grammys. I'd never seen him smile like this before. He had a Kool-Aid ear to ear smile, and I'm just like, what? Now, okay, look. Also, he pulling up. and he like, hey, I gotta let you hear something. And he playing me the violin song. And I'm thinking, he's smiling. Nah, it's obviously jamming. When I'm hearing it in his jag and I'm hearing Still Tippin', it's jamming. But when I was listening to it on the boombox, the little CD player, it wasn't jamming to me or anyone else that heard it. Mike Jones refused to rap on it. He was like, man, I'm not rapping on it. Everybody that were, only reason why I rapped on it was because I was just hungry. I'm like, man, you can fart on the beat. I'm going to rap on it. You know what I'm saying? And Magno, too. I don't know. Maybe Magno thought it was hard, but everybody, all the artists, we were like, I don't know about that one. You know what I'm saying? But it's because of how we heard it.
It was because of the boombox.
Yeah, because of at least that's my, that's what I'm going to say.
Yo, every time you call it the violin song, I'm like, that is so crazy.
Yeah. Man, but T. Ferris pulled up. I'm thinking he just letting me hear the violin song. And I'm really thinking, he just put it in my face that, I told you this shit was jamming. I told you I was right, because T. Ferris used to be right, and I would be wrong all the time. I have no problem being wrong. I love it when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because you right, we run whatever, that's cool. I mean, because a lot of what I go off of is my personal preference.
Yep.
And my personal preference is a little niche. So T. Ferris had more of a mainstream or a global mind frame of how to like take me, whatever I can capable of, my style, and show that to the world and something that they can digest, you know.
Yeah.
So I was just like thinking this is one of those moments. I'm thinking he playing the song. I hear the rough draft on there. So I'm like, oh, this is the older version of Still Tippin', the rough draft version that's on the violin song. So I'm immediately thinking, I'm not on there. He took me off. They took me off of there. And he just letting me, he's smiling because he like, I was right. I told you I was right. This shit jamming. And he for sure was right. My boy was right. 'Cause that shit was jamming. But I'll never forget when I'm just like, oh, damn, Slim on there. And I'm like, damn, I'm kind of feeling like a little deflated, let down. Like, damn.
Are you showing
this
it?
shit would have been hard, man. Slim Thug on there, Mike Jones, and now I'm not on there. Like, damn, man, fuck. And then so anyway, as he like, now just wait. I got a surprise for you. Just playing, and of course I got the third verse, and my verse come in. And I'm like, damn, I'm on there. I made the cut. I ain't get took out. Because also at the time, Michael Watts used to be notorious for taking people's verses off. Sometimes it would because there is an abundance of verses.
Right.
So, and the song can only be 3 minutes, 4 minutes, especially if it's getting played on the radio. The song can't be no 12 minutes long,
Yeah. All right.
But he was notorious for taking people off. So I'm thinking, he taking me off of the song. So just knowing that I made the cut and I'm on the song, also, this was like my first song ever with Slim Thug. We done been on freestyles together, but this is like my first song with Slim Thug. Like I told you, Slim Thug always been the big homie.
Yeah.
We the same age. But he always been the boss.
Yeah.
So employee get to work with the boss. You know what I'm saying? Employee get to sit at the boss's table.
That's fire.
Okay, I was excited. So when he let me hear it, I was like, damn, boy, and from that point on, I was like, hey, don't even ask me what I want to write to. You tell me what I need to write to.
That's
Still
good.
sitting sideways. Hey, you tell me whatever beat you tell me to rap to, I'm rapping to it.
Oh, wow.
And I'll never forget being in the studio when we did Back Then They Didn't Want Me, Mike Jones song. Mike Jones had a slightly different perspective. He had another song on his album, on his solo album, that Mike Jones just knew it was gonna be a hit. It was a song he made about his grandma. He was singing on it, oh grandma, and he felt like people could relate because everybody loved their grandma.
Yeah.
And he felt like, okay, I maybe don't have a singing voice, but Usher got vocal lessons. Beyonce got vocal lessons. Well, I can get vocal training. I can learn how to sing like Usher. Well, you do have to have a little basis of talent, no matter how hard you work, everybody can't sound like Beyonce.
This is
you know what I'm saying? Or Usher.
Yeah.
So, but his perspective was he felt like the grandma song people could relate to. But
a lot of artists be doing that. I always tell my artist friends, like, you need somebody else to pick it because the one that you love is only sentimental to you.
And it's okay to be wrong. I was wrong about Still Tippin'. Thank God.
Thank God.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you come and see me in show at a concert, every song I sing, other than one song, it was somebody else. It was mostly T. Ferris.
Wow.
But there's one song, "Swinging in the Rain." That's my idea.
Okay.
Every other song was T. Ferris or someone else saying, hey, you need to do this. And me being like, I don't know, but I'll do it for you. And it ended up working. And it's a hit. So it worked. So Mike Jones, when he did Back Then They Didn't Want Me, T. Ferris, like, hey, I got this beat. Same producer, Salih. he sampled something you said, and Still Tippin', he made a song, and Mike Jones was like, nah, that ain't it. This it, the grandma song it. Well, all I knew was T. Ferris is always right.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, hey, I don't know what song is it, but whatever one T. Ferris say, that's the one I'm going with. You know, but like I say, man, of course, he was right about back then they didn't want me to. It was a smash hit for Mike Jones, too. So, you know, hey,
shout out to T. Ferris.
Hey, it's okay to be wrong. Artists, it's okay to be wrong. All
right, real quick before we go, we always play this segment called Questions That Need Answers. All you got to do is fill in the blank. The older I get, the less I...
What's the opposite of anxiety?
Like calm.
Okay, the older I get, the less I calm.
Or the less I...
Because the older I get, the more I get stressed.
The less I stress.
The more I stress. The older I get, the more I stress. I mean, some of it be because, you know, I know how precious life is. So I appreciate certain things. So I'm very, you know, although I'm 100% somebody who's like, I live by faith and I believe in fate and God's will. So if something happens, good or bad, especially because so many good things happen to me, you know, in the mix of something bad happen or something bad happen, and the result is something good, not something bad. So just because something bad happened don't mean that just is, you know, God pivoting and changing sometimes your path. So I'm a firm believer in that. But even that being said, I still stress about my kids, my family, things like that. And, you know, it's mostly things like that. And it's like, you know, them going out into the world and things happening to them when I'm not there, or things that, you know, I have no control over anyway.
Can't control.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, I just, you know, and even if something bad happens, which it does, you know, I still stress. So the older I get, the less I calm.
No, it's not calm.
The older I get, the more I stress.
Man, I hate that, but it's understood. My dad told me one day I'll understand. So
yeah.
Okay.
As soon as I had kids, everything changed about my perspective on life. And some of it was a gradual change, some of it was a switch. But as soon as I had kids,
what was the instant switch?
The instant switch was how I walk, how I move. When I'm even married, before you have kids, when you're married, it's different. When you have kids, it's different. But when you, I don't know, like I mean, like I used to be kind of risky, you know, like where I would hang out or where I would live, or you know, I was on the block, you know. So it was like now you got kids, it's like, okay, well, people dying right in front of your face, maybe you
got
know,
too much to lose.
Yeah, you got too much to lose, you know. But you know, I realized that, you know, if something happens to me, I'm not just the only one affected. There are, you know, my kids are directly affected. My wife is affected. Everybody's affected, you know, if something happens to me. So I got to, you know, take that in consideration.
That's real. You would never believe me if I told you.
You would never believe me if I told you how much I did not think Still Tippin', the Violin Beat was going to be it. You would never believe me. I almost don't believe, because when I hear the Still Tippin' instrumental, that shit jamming.
Yeah.
But when I first heard it, it wasn't jamming to me. So thank God I was wrong.
Yes.
You would never believe me if I told you how much I did not believe in that song.
That's true. All right. Sometimes I look back at my life and...
Sometimes I look back at my life. Always I look back at my life, and I'm so grateful, you know, for every lesson I learned, for every blessing I've received, for all the people that I've crossed paths with, that I was just blessed to be in their presence or to know them or befriend. You know, I'm always grateful, always. And when I look back at my life, it's just a immense amount of gratitude, even for the negative things that happen, because they certainly shaped who I am and who I've become. So, you know, some of the worst things that happened to me, they made me the best version of me. So, you know, I think back to, you know, what if, you know, I grew up, you know, in a 2-parent household, my parents didn't get divorced, and my biological father was an adult fiend. Well, maybe I might be out here, you know, with a different type of powwow. You know, maybe I wouldn't be who I am, you know. So some of the things that I grew up with, they led me down certain paths, or, you know, or had me become influenced by certain people that really shaped who I am.
Character development.
For sure.
Character development. Sure. My last question is 3 things you would tell your 18-year-old self.
3 things I would tell my 18-year-old self. Number 1 is have an open mind. You know, it's okay to be wrong, like I'm saying. because sometimes when you feel the sentimental things with the music, you're creative, you feel biased about it because it's sentimental to you. But it is okay to be wrong. Have an open mind, because people are sharing their perspective, and sometimes their perspective is a little broader or a more general perspective than my niche perspective. So that's number one. Number two, I would share is work as hard as you can. There are, there's 2 times where I just really regret, like, man, I wish I could have did that, but it just through the circumstance, I couldn't through the timing. One was when Ghostface Killer asked me to get on his album, and I was traveling, and he was like, hey, I want you on the song, but it was like, I got like a day or two to do it. Well, I was on tour. It just was not possible for me to do it. But I always regret that I was not on Ghostface Killer's album, and I think, damn, man, I wish there was some way I could have made it happen. And another one was with Jill Scott. Of course, we got a song, So Gone, together, but she asked me to get on another song before that, and I dropped the ball on it. I did a verse. I was on tour, too. I did a verse, and I was like, okay, this ain't going to be like the Ghostface Killer. I'm going to find a way to do it. So I recorded it in the bathroom on the tour bus. Well, that's not really Jill Scott caliber. You know what I'm saying? Jill Scott was like, hey, Power, I love you, but that ain't it. And also, having done the song with So Gone with her in person, knowing how she works, she has a vision.
Yeah. She's
not just like, I wonder how this is going to sound. She has a vision that she's trying to, incorporate and make happen.
Yeah.
So, when we're not together, she can't share that vision with me. So it didn't work out, and she still put the song out, without me. And I'm just like, damn, man, I missed my chance, man. Damn, I love Jill Scott.
I love Jill.
Oh, my God, I love Jill. Yeah, I love Jill Scott. So when I got the second chance, it was like my redemption song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, whatever you want me to say, do whatever. Hey, yes, of course, I love Jill Scott.
Yeah.
But the last thing I would tell my 18-year-old self is just continue to be grateful. You know what I'm saying? Just continue to be grateful, because it's something that, it changes your perspective about things. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're looking for something to be upset about, it's there.
Yeah.
For every person on this earth, you're looking for something to be mad about, you will find it. But also, if you're looking for something to be grateful about, you'll find that too. So, although I've always kind of been the people's champ and had a positive attitude, that is for sure something I would tell my 18-year-old self, to say, man, look for positivity, because you will find it.
I love that. What an aura. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, new project dropping
This
December
Friday.
13th, this Friday.
Yeah.
Make sure you
So
guys.
it might be out by the time this drop.
I know, right? Yeah. We'll figure it out. But
new album drop? No. Yeah, new album is out right now. New album is out right now.
Yes, make sure you guys tune in. Talk soon.
Yeah,
Peace.
already.